If a bank taught you how to be independent from the bank, they lose a customer, right? If we learn how to invest and make money on our own, I wouldn't need Wall Street. They don't want you to do that. They don't want you to be independent.
Are you interested in writing more life insurance premium? How about bigger whole life insurance cases? On today's episode, Courtney and I sit down with Matt Love, owner of Cashflow Architects, and we dig into his philosophy, his concept behind permanent life insurance, specifically whole life insurance, and why everyone should have a whole life insurance policy and how it works and how people can become their own bank and set themselves up for success not only throughout their life, but also in retirement by utilizing permanent life insurance like whole life. With that being said, let's start the show. Hey, welcome to the Insurance Buzz. I am your host, Michael Weaver, and today we have a special guest, Matt Love with Cashflow Architects. Matt, what's going on, buddy?
What up, Michael? Good to see you, man. Thanks for having me today.
Man, I'm pumped. So I met Matt when I went to the Heroes of Zeros conference and smoking a cigar with old Tom Hegna. And Matt, your buddy was in there smoking with me and Tom. You came in, we hit it off. I'm like, wait, you're a life insurance expert? I gotta have you on the Insurance Buzz, man.
I know, man. That was so great. I never thought I'd be an insurance guru. I got a master's in architecture. But life is weird, man. We got to pivot and make some decisions. And I'm glad that I got into it. I think it's a very rewarding career.
Oh, hell yeah. So what made you pivot from architecture to now life insurance?
Yeah. So I got a master's when I was 25 and I was working in the architectural industry for a really well-known architect outside of Detroit. We did really high-end residential projects. And I could see that my bosses were better than I was. Like I just knew that they were better. And then I saw the guys in the office that had been there for like 10 years and they just weren't happy. They weren't making a ton of money. They didn't like their life. And I'm like, this kind of sucks. It wasn't rewarding. And so I made a decision. I'm like, I got to get out of this, and called my mom and told her, and she cried, which is always gives you confidence. If mom cries, like, why would you give this up? And I was like, look, I don't have to give it up forever. I can always come back to architecture, but I got to do something different. So I moved to Chicago with a friend of mine who I barely knew. And I ended up selling garage floors and cabinetry. And I help, this is what we're talking about today is like, how do you answer the question, what do you do for a living? Because so many insurance agents don't know how to answer that question. Back in the day, I developed my first EOS, my explanation of services. And I would say, I help the man design the last room of the house that he can call his, the garage. So we would do car lifts and epoxy floor coating and cabinetry. And we got to make little man caves all over the suburbs. And it was awesome. And so I realized, dude, I went from like 37 grand a year of income to like $90,000 in 9 months. And so I'm like, I'm never going to do drawings again. I just want to help people get what they want. And around a year and a half after I did that, a friend of mine lost his mom and he inherited an IRA. And the advice was roll it into another retirement account, which now you can no longer do. You have to get it out within 10 years. But the advisor had absolutely no concept of distribution planning. His mom passed away before she ever retired, and all of her savings was in a retirement account. And so my buddy was like, what do I do? And I introduced my father, who's been doing financial planning for years. And I got to see how life insurance works. And at the time, I owned my own policies, and I'd use them to buy cars. I didn't realize the value. And I'm like, man, people don't understand how the insurance works. Maybe I can just coach them. And so then I started in an agency and learned, it's been like 14 years. So now I have the company Cashflow Architects. I want to teach people how to spend money, not just save it.
Hell yeah, man. So talk a little bit around, because I think even some advisors and producers can be a little confused sometimes on the concept of permanent life insurance, how it's used as a living benefit throughout your life, obviously how it can be used in retirement planning. Yeah. And so I'd love for you to just explain a little bit more around what you help customers with, because your whole concept, I believe, don't get me now, if I'm wrong here, call me on it, but sure, become your own bank. So not infinite banking, but more so replacing the bank or having yourself as a bank along with maybe traditional banking. Is that fair?
It is fair. Yeah. Because I think inappropriately advisors insurance agents get stuck in this battle of rate of return. The market will do better than a whole life policy. I hope so. It should, depending on the year. might not. It's an inappropriate battle because I don't think they're in competition. I think they're in congruence if we approach it right. And when we look at what banks do, banks lend money over and over. It's typically a horrible rate of return. It's exposed. That money is exposed in a lawsuit. There's no outside benefits. It just sits there. So instead of putting money into my bank first, I put it into my life insurance. I get a better rate of return. I get tax protection. I get higher guaranteed growth. I have no tax that's due on the growth. And I have, depending on the state, protection from creditors. So if I get sued, they can't touch it. And then I want to leverage the cash value or my dead cell to go buy cash flowing assets, not a 401k, not a retirement account. I don't need a retirement account to retire. I need money. And when I understand what inflation is doing to the value of our money, man, I couldn't get out of cash fast enough. I want to be in a policy, and then I want to leverage the policy into cash flowing assets like business or real estate.
But you're not saying completely you're not saying do away with traditional investment planning, all right? Putting money maybe in a 401k. Obviously, my election there would be utilize your Roth. If they have a Roth election in the 401k, use that. Maybe Roth IRAs. Obviously, I'm a huge proponent of that. So you're not saying do away with that. You're just saying also consider having permanent life insurance on the side as a way to grow money tax-free if you do it correctly in the future for retirement planning, kind of being a volatility buffer in retirement, but also being able to use the cash value aspect of loans. For example, I know you're a big whole life guy, so loans to go out instead of going to a bank to get a car loan, you use yourself as a bank to get a car loan. Is that correct?
Yeah, kind of. I also don't like government-sponsored qualified retirement plans. A Roth is great. If you can do a Roth, cool. You got to make more money, so they don't let you do it. If you can do a Roth 401k, cool. That means you're an employee. I like control over my cash. I don't want my money subject to market volatility, paying fees every single year, regardless of the performance, with zero exit strategy. You know, if you have $1 million in a Roth and you turn 60, you want that money to last to the age of 90. They say don't take out more than 3 to 4%. So $1 million is going to give me 30 grand a year tax-free income. You know what $1 million inside of a policy could give me? A lot more cash flow. And I can use the policy before age 60, and my family's taken care of because of the death benefit before the age of 60 if I don't make it. So am I a fan of retirement accounts? No, dude, I don't even like them.
But explain that real fast. All right. Because right now, even though we're talking to a bunch of insurance agents and producers, if anybody from outside of the insurance industry hears this, they're going to be like, this guy's full of shit. He's just talking about, he's a life insurance salesman. All right. So I want to hit on this just real fast. So when you say that you can grab your cash at a higher percentage, okay, so the $1 million you just said, because yes, 4% is like the old
Safe
school
money.
safe withdrawal rate. All right. Like if you 4% on $1 million should last you your entire retirement. You're saying that you can grab more than that out of a whole. So if you had $1 million in a whole life and $1 million in a IRA or 401k, you're saying that theoretically you could pull more out of a life and permanent life policy and it would last you longer.
Correct.
Explain that.
There's calculations called capital equivalent value. And so the problem is that people look at account values and not cash flow that the account can give you. So my $1 million in cash value, just a boring old life insurance, can produce the same amount of after tax, after fee, after market volatile cash flow as around $3 to $4 million inside of a traditional 401k. So you have to get a good rate of return in the market to duplicate what boring old life insurance can do. You have to. The only reason I would say put money into a 401 or a retirement account is if you get a match. And look, if you get 25 cents for every dollar, that's not a match. That's an insult. Do the exit planning. If you get what you want out of life and you live to age 60, you're going to have a big account value. And you know who loves it? The advisor, because they're charging you a fee on the full gross amount, knowing you're only going to spend 4%. The distribution planning isn't there. So many people in their 30s and 40s are overfunding retirement accounts, paying off their house, and they have no access to capital. That's a problem. I funnel all my money into life insurance. And then I leverage it out to go buy cash flowing assets that will hedge inflation. Real estate.
Okay. I'll admit I'm still a little confused on how life insurance can equate to 3 to 4 million, even though you only have a million in there. All right,
Well,
I'm
I'll
still
tell
a
you what,
little.
I give away this stuff for free. It's in my course, the financial blueprint. It's in school. I don't even know what the website is. Google financial blueprint in school. It goes over a calculation. It'll walk you through how to do the calculation. So if I take 100 grand out of life insurance, in order for me to get the same benefits, I need to buy long-term care insurance and term life insurance, right? So
Yep.
person A, 100 grand in life insurance. Person B takes 100 grand out of a 401. Plus they got to take an extra 10 grand out to buy long-term care and term insurance. Okay. Then they got to take out more to pay tax on the Social Security. Then they got to take more to pay the tax on the Medicare. Then they got to take more to cover the tax that's due on the whole thing. So they have to take out like 160 grand, 150 grand to net the same 100,000 a year. And you take 160 grand divided by 0.04, the 4% safe withdrawal, and it'll give you the amount that you need in that account to duplicate what life insurance can give you. You reverse engineer the whole thing.
No, because I mean, I get like, obviously, I love permanent life insurance. I think everybody needs permanent life insurance. I invest in permanent life insurance. It's part of my diversification in my retirement plan. But I
Okay.
also have money in my brokerage account. Okay, so I'm not crazy as well about like having money in accounts where the government's like, you can't touch it till you're 59 and a half or you got to pay a penalty on it. Like,
Yeah.
personally, I think that's also bullshit. All right.
Yeah.
Like, I'm with you there, but I still am we're putting a hefty amount away in our brokerage account every single year into pretty
Growth fund.
aggressive. Yep, pretty aggressive
Yeah.
stocks and growth funds. I've got the permanent life insurance. We've got our real estate. Obviously, I'm a big believer in. I don't have to say I'm a believer in crypto, but I'm a believer in making money. And I think crypto is a vehicle that's going to help me make money. That's going to allow me to take money, transfer it to somebody else, something else like real estate, real assets. So I get that, but I'm not. I'm not going to put all my money into permanent life insurance like you say you do. All right. And so
Well,
I think
I
it's just,
don't leave it there though. I funnel it through. There's a word that's you're not supposed to use called launder. I don't launder it through the insurance. This is legal. But I put money into a policy and then leverage it out to go buy something else. So it's just a step in the process. It's
and
replacing
then
the
you're
typical
paying,
bank.
and then, okay. So now somebody would be thinking, okay, so, but then you're paying yourself back. And that's the whole become your own bank,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So you're going to pay yourself back the principal plus the interest while your cash stays in the account, earns the amount of interest, your permanent life policies. That's the whole become your own bank concept.
Yeah, pretty much. And I want to buy cash flowing assets so that the cash flowing asset pays it back, not me. So other people will pay it back.
Okay. I like
And I
that.
want to create different revenue streams that hedge inflation. I don't want to use a savings account to generate an income when I'm 60. A savings account won't be able to keep up. Not with inflation. Market literally can't perform well enough unless you get really lucky and you bought Nvidia, or Netflix back in 1996 or whatever it was. Or you get lucky. So, and look, I'm not against that. I'm just saying that's the gamble that we have to take. I don't
Yep.
like that gamble. Some people like it, which is totally fine. It doesn't get rid of the fact. This is why they're not in competition. It's congruence. I still can use the money inside of a policy. And if I can get better than 5%, I'll take the money out and go do that. I don't want the money staying inside the policy. It should be in the world working for me. Ideally, that can hedge inflation. That is so important for us right now. And that'll never go away. 30 years from now, people are going to want to sleep inside. So I think real estate's not going to go down.
I agree.
And my $1 million needs to be worth 5 million inside of a brokerage to give me the income that I want in today's dollar values. So what's it have to be? It's got to be 10 million. So go gamble on whatever you want. I like
Crypto.
stuff I can control better. What's that?
I say crypto.
Yeah, I like crypto. I think crypto's cool, man.
Not honestly, like I'm not a crypto like expert by any means, but I just think when you study trends and cycles, and I study money a lot, and anytime there's a bull cycle, look, things don't repeat, but they do rhyme.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm definitely like, I believe I can make some money. And then my whole goal is to transfer it into real assets. Like
Yeah,
that's it, into real estate and permanent life insurance.
love it. Perfect. It's wonderful. Yeah, man. I think when you look at retirement income streams that I think most people have all their money in what they talk about diversification through stocks and bonds, but it's all still in a pre-tax or Roth IRA, 401k, subject to market volatility. So unless you have an annuity, you're riding that wave in your 70s, dude. That's not what people want to do.
Well, if anyone, like I can get on this train. Like stocks, I still believe stocks can earn you a lot. All right, like we invest a lot into Amazon. We invest some into like the VOO fund, which matches the S&P 500. But if you have any money in bonds, cash value life insurance is a much better option
So much better.
for an allocation that you would like take your entire conservative bond allocation and look at permanent life insurance because you have way more options, way more guarantees. Like in my opinion, that's way better for your money
Yes.
than putting it in bonds.
So this is why I say it's not in competition with investing. It's in congruence. I want to put money into a policy because it's going to do better than a bond will with more benefits.
Yep.
And then I leverage it for the high risk stuff. Where can I get the better rate of return? I like real estate for all of the reasons of tax purposes, the incentives from the IRS, the ability to use other people's money, historical returns, future returns on a finite resource, right? They're not making any more land. So that's why I like it. That's where I'll take more risk. And I'm just leveraging my death benefit to do it.
Yep. Okay. So you obviously help a lot of you're high performer. You're an author, like you're crushing it right now. So what I find in working with agents and producers across the country is they have a really hard time getting into these types of conversations with customers. And so how do you position the conversation? Because typically when life insurance is mentioned, red flag goes up from a consumer standpoint. Yo, bro, I got it through work. You're just trying to sell me some shit. I'm not interested. Kick rocks, pal.
Yeah.
So how are you positioning yourself? Like, how are you even beginning that conversation with a customer to get them started having a conversation with you?
Okay. There's so much to say right here. So first of all, I think P&C agents do a horrible job of selling life insurance. And what they should do is leverage another advisor. Bring in a specialist.
Time out though. Are you talking I mean, State Farm's like one of the number one life insurance producers in the country.
Yeah. But I'm saying most day-to-day agents don't do well selling life.
I gotta give you shit, man. I gotta stand up for my agency force, baby. State Farm, Farmers is on a roll right now. I know Allstate's gonna be mixing it back in.
Bro, fine. I'd use State Farm. Talk to my agent, dude. If he could sell more life insurance, he's like, I would give my left arm to sell more life insurance, is his comment. And the problem is that they don't know how to do it. Okay. Now, State Farm does sell a lot. There's a lot of agents. I'm not saying that everybody's bad at this. I'm saying as a whole, most P&C agents don't know how to transition to the conversation of life insurance. Okay.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I agree. That's why I'm in the position I'm in, helping agents all across the country get better at it, bro.
Yeah. No, and it's a heck of a skill that they should work on because the reward is there. You know, the income that it can produce for the agent plus protection for the client on a guaranteed event. You know, I'm not guaranteed to have a car accident, I'm guaranteed to die at some point. So here's how you start the conversation. It's my favorite 2-letter word in the English language. If. Before I pitch anybody anything for whatever, it could be a garage floor, I'm going to ask for permission. Now, there's an interesting saying that I used to always say, advice is only accepted under one of 2 circumstances. Number one is if it's life-threatening, right? If you're hanging from a cliff and I tell you to, grab my arm, you're going to grab my arm and listen because it's a life or death situation. The second time that someone's going to listen to me is when it's asked for. So how can I create an environment where the client is asking me about how life insurance can work? Okay. So before I pitch, I'm going to ask for the permission. Before I say anything, look, I know exactly how life insurance works. I don't know how you feel about it, but if I were to spend 15 minutes talking about, some of these benefits that I think you're going to like based on what you've told me, if I were to spend 10, 15 minutes on that, would you find it beneficial? If we always have to ask permission, that's first. And the second thing is understanding, really well how to build what's called an explanation of services. Okay. And so I wrote a book called Power Bombs for financial advisors. An explanation of services is basically answering the question, what do you do for a living? So if somebody goes to you, somebody comes up to you and says, what do you do for a living? Dude, for financial advisors, insurance agents, we just stutter all over ourselves. We don't know how to answer the question. So I want to create a process. Remember the great Wayne Cotton, he's still around, but he says, when you can turn a problem into a process, it's no longer a problem. So an explanation of services has 3 parts. Number one is a statement or a power bomb to grab their attention. Number two is an example to bring them in and relate to the power of phrase. And number three is a question of inclusion. So I'm going to do all three of those things. So if I'm
All
at
right.
my daughter, does that make
One
sense?
second. Matt,
Yeah.
what do you do for a living, buddy?
Michael, I'm glad you asked, man. I love what I do. I got to tell you, I love what I do. I help entrepreneurs just like you understand how to have control over your wealth and use your money over and over and over again before the age of retirement, and the IRS doesn't get any of it. Imagine if you could put your money in a place where you could leverage not only continue to get growth out of your money, but you could leverage that cash for your business. What would you do if you could invest in and save your money and invest in your business? What would you invest in with your business? What's the next step you want to do?
There we go. You had me with the power bomb. That was good.
Yeah. And so it depends on who I'm talking to. If I'm talking to like at my daughter's soccer game, Matt, what do you do? I love what I do. I help families just like you understand how to set up college accounts for their kids without offsetting your own retirement. Imagine, here's my example. Imagine having the same amount of retirement that you're on pace for and paying for your kids' college. Let me ask you a question. If you got that kind of security, how would that make you feel? Or is your advisor showing you how to pay for your kids' school and not offset your retirement right now? Is your advisor teaching you this? No. If I spent 20 minutes over a cup of coffee, would you want to learn how we do it? Okay. Power phrase, example, statement. Matt, what do you do? And if it's a 60-year-old guy, I help people just like you retire off the radar screen of the IRS for income tax purposes. For example, we have clients generating hundreds of thousands of dollars a year of cash flow, not income, cash flow. That's not even reportable on a tax return. Imagine, here's my question of inclusion. If you could retire on $200,000 a year and not file a tax return, how would that make you feel?
That'd make me feel pretty good. I hate Uncle Sam.
Well, yeah, you find out which way they lean politically when you give some of those examples.
Yeah, but here we go, though. Here we go. Nobody likes taxes. I don't care. Left side, right side, middle side. Doesn't matter what side you're on. Nobody likes
taxes have to get paid as long as they're not paid by me.
All right. Like, look, and I'm one that, like, okay, if I'm paying taxes, that means I'm making money. That's a beautiful thing within business. But shit, man, if I can somehow figure out how to make money and not pay taxes, that's even better.
Well, that's why the IRS wrote the tax code. They didn't write the tax code to teach you how to pay taxes. They're teaching you how to not pay taxes. And the challenge with traditional financial planning, and this is why I want to work with entrepreneurs because they think outside the box. When we follow traditional financial planning, you are putting yourself in a position to pay the highest tax rate that we can't even calculate for the rest of your life. Why? Because the advisor then can charge a fee on a gross dollar amount, the pre-taxed amount they're getting paid for, with no exit strategy. If you found out what you thought to be true isn't true, when do you want to figure this out, man? Because I've worked with 65-year-olds. That's not the time you want to figure it out. So that's how you do an EOS. Well, so you build that framework out and you bring in your own examples and whatever, if you do college planning, if you do retirement planning, if you work with entrepreneurs, like you build your EOS around your ideal target market.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Well, and the other thing that that I know is happening right now is obviously we have inflation. The stock market is an all-time high. So obviously we know it's eventually going to come. It's got to come down eventually. All right. And there's a lot of research out there right now with Ernst & Young, BlackRock. Those of you that have listened to the Insurance Buzz for any amount of time have heard me quote this statistic before, but if you are currently in insurance sales, specifically life insurance, I would really encourage you to go out and research these BlackRock, Ernst & Young studies, even maybe go look at getting a certification like a chartered financial consultant or a retirement income certified professionalist designation through the American College. But right now it is saying, and Matt, you can update me if this quote's not right because I'm going off the top of my mind though. So right now it's saying to have an optimal retirement, 30% of your portfolio should be annuities, 30% should be permanent life insurance, and 40% should be in stocks. Is that correct?
Yep. And that's written by Ernst & Young, who have nothing to do with annuities or life insurance. BlackRock don't sell annuities or life insurance. But those are the products that we need in order to have a The
However, did you see BlackRock's coming out with a almost like a deferred comp annuity within their investment plans? Did you see that?
I have not seen that. No.
They just roll. I just saw the article like a week ago get posted, and so it's not even live to consumers. It's just saying, "Hey, here's what we're going to come up with because we found that there is a need amongst Americans that need a defined, all right, plan in retirement that guarantees them paychecks for the rest of their life to make sure that they live a happier, longer retirement." And so I find it very interesting that BlackRock's been putting these studies out now for 3 or 4 years. All right.
Yeah.
And you're right. They have nothing like this currently, but they are going to come out with something in like traditional 401ks, is what they're saying, that they can convert over basically to like an annuity with companies, is what it's
Well, good
looking
for them.
like
I
to
think
me.
the consumer needs it. I think the consumer doesn't understand the difference between fees and commission. And
Yep.
like when you said earlier, don't talk about life insurance. I have life insurance through work. You're just trying to sell something, dude. That is the dumbest comment you could make. Because, and so for the advisors listening, the agents listening, you should do the studies, figure out how much more expensive fees are for people than a straight commission. By the way, the commission's paid by the insurance company, not the consumer. When I sold garages in Chicago, the consumer was paying me. When you buy insurance or an annuity, the compensation is paid by the insurance company. It's not coming from the account of the client. So the agent needs to arm themselves with data to combat those stupid comments, because that's what they are. They're stupid. And it's our job to
Yeah.
politely say, that's a stupid comment. You're not a stupid person. So let's fix that, because you're
Yep.
saying
But
stupid
you're not
things
going to
right now.
call, okay, but you're not going to call the consumer stupid because they only know what they know. Like
Right.
they've been taught, like, I don't know why, I don't know where like the whole life insurance is a scam or the negative connotation around life insurance. I've never done my homework on that. Maybe you have. I don't know where that comes from exactly, but without a doubt, you mentioned life insurance to a majority of the population. They're like, red flag.
Yeah.
This guy's just trying to take my money. No, thank you. All right. And so I don't know where that comes from. Like, obviously, you have your Susie Ormans, your Dave Ramseys of the world that are like, permanent life insurance is a scam. Don't do it. Like, term only. And maybe people like that. But even Dave and Susie are both like, you need more than just outside of just your work policies. Like, you need a lot of term life insurance. That's why it's inexpensive. So I don't know why permanent life insurance gets such a bad rap amongst
I think,
consumers.
it's a
Besides,
mixture.
people just don't know anything about money. Like, financial literacy is just not there within our country.
That's the problem. And then it comes down to selling, because, you better believe Dave's getting kickbacks when he's pushing term insurance. Those
Mm-hmm.
agencies that he pushes are paying him for that. Life insurance companies love term insurance because 98.5% of it doesn't pay a death benefit, just
Yep.
per pure profit.
But it's needed. But it's
100%
needed.
it's
All
needed.
right. Like,
It's needed.
somebody dies, the family needs to be taken care of.
100. Yeah, I own term insurance, right? So I think that it's a lack of financial understanding on purpose from the top down. They don't want us to learn how to become. If a bank taught you how to be independent from the bank, they lose a customer, right? If we learn how to invest and make money on our own, I wouldn't need Wall Street. They don't want you to do that. They don't want you to be independent. It's like the pharmaceutical companies. They don't want you to be dead. They want you to live a long life so you can keep buying products.
That's true. That's true. That could go down a sideways road real
Everybody
fast around.
listening could talk about that for a while. Yep.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So tell me a little bit about what you've currently got going on. If somebody wanted to follow you, connect with you, work with you, you've got some free materials out there that they can learn from. You're currently writing a new book. Like talk about everything you got going on, man, because you got a lot going on.
So much going on, dude. So I gotta we're getting focused this year. So I'm excited about this book. I wrote a book called Power Bombs, and I don't even think it's on Amazon anymore. But if an agent wants that, I think they're $50. It's a hard copy. It was expensive to print. I don't make any money on that, but I have a handful of those left. But follow Cashflow Architects, Instagram, YouTube. Just go Cashflow Architects. Got a website out. The book that's coming out July 30th. We're doing a launch, and we got some special giveaways. We're going to do that. So if you want to go to the entrepreneursasset.com, that'll show you how to get a copy of your book. And July 30th, we're going to have some goodies we're going to give away that day too, which is kind of cool. But that book is all about, how entrepreneurs think differently and traditional financial planning was meant for, like the W-2 employee that is a passive investor. They're not hands-on. They expect another advisor to get the return for them. And then when they hang up their cleats at age 65, they're going to have money in an account that they want to retire on. And I don't think it's going to be nearly as much as they expected, but the advisor's doesn't need to tell them that. They're just going to charge a fee forever. So Cashflow Architects teaches people how to be independent, replacing your bank, protecting your money from creditors, have guaranteed returns, and then how to invest in yourself through business or real estate.
Hell yeah. And that comes out July 30th?
July 30th, we're having the book launch. And I think the website Entrepreneur's Asset will show all of that. They can log in there and get access. We're giving away goodies. We give away an audiobook and all that.
And then on social media, it's Cashflow Architects.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yep. On Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, got a private Facebook group, a community, and school too, which is where I do a lot of the training. So I believe in giving stuff away for free at this point. I think the consumer, like we talked about, is uneducated. I don't need to charge to educate people. I want people to learn how this stuff works for free. And when they're ready to make a decision, they can come back to me and I'll help them get set up with a policy.
Yeah, man. I love it. Well, Matt, appreciate your time today. All of those of you that are currently listening, thank you so much for your support, man. I appreciate you. We appreciate you over here at The Buzz. I would love to know your biggest takeaway from our episode today. Shoot me a text, 816-727-7610. And if you enjoyed this episode enough to just take a 1 minute to give us a review and a 5-star rating, that would be absolutely amazing. Other than that, as always, time and attention are by far our most important assets. I appreciate you spending the last 30 minutes with me and Matt today. Go out, make it great. Matt, thanks again, brother.